Hi, it's Bill, the Bay Area Rideshare guy, and I'm going to try to make this video as quickly as possible because I know you don't want to spend a lot of time watching a video. But I'm going to give you some tips on how to be a successful driver here in the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, number one, karma. It's amazing how often, because I'm always letting people in ahead of me, I'm always trying to be as the most courteous driver possible, that it comes back to me. I've been driving since November. I haven't had a single ticket. I've actually talked myself out of 2 tickets. So go out of your way to make driving an easier experience for everyone around you. Then that will lower your stress levels. That will also make driving a much more pleasurable experience for your passengers. So go out of your way to spread the positivity. All right. Teamwork. Number 2, teamwork. You know, we don't have a union. We're not going to have a union. Part of what's great about ride sharing is it kind of breaks up the corruption of the transportation industry. So have high integrity. Let's fan out and serve as many people as we can. And then also realize it's a service. So do the very best service you can. Don't drive up to people and cancel on them. It gives all of us a bad name, and it reduces the value of the experience. So do your very best to be part of the big team that we're all on, providing an incredible service that then people will value it even more. Those people that do that stuff, they're only shooting themselves in the foot. Okay. Number 3, it's a game, right? It's a game, and the rideshare companies are gaming us. So we have to learn how they're trying to trick us into doing certain things, and then we have to do what works best for us. Also, it looks like there's some kind of algorithm where they figure out the driver, and your incentives kind of shift based on what you're doing. And I've noticed in talking to other drivers that their incentives are different than mine. I was getting a three consecutive ride bonus, and somebody else mentioned 4, and I didn't say, well, I'm getting a 3, but it's very interesting. So things change between Uber tends to change pretty dramatically week to week in terms of what their bonus offerings are, and Lyft tends to change more gradually, but you can start to see how the trends are working. All right. Number 4, things to avoid. Avoid airport lines. Oh, how many times have I sat in an airport line, waiting for a half an hour, 45 minutes, hour and 15 minutes for one ride? What a waste. Okay. Avoid trips into San Francisco between 5:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. If you can possibly avoid it, do it. Once you're there, spend some time in San Francisco, because you don't want to get dragged back there twice. Okay? Avoid 101 south from San Jose to Burlingame, north or south, San Jose to Burlingame, weekday mornings. It's some of the worst traffic in the world. So as much as possible, try to go places where the traffic is less. That's a general rule, because the amount of time, because we're not compensated for time as much as we are the finite amount of pickups and mileage. All right. Avoid Warriors Coliseum pickup zone. Instead, call the people, accept the ride, call the people, see if you can get them to go to Coliseum BART. The more, get people who go to Coliseum BART. It's sometimes even worth giving up the 1.7 to go pick somebody up really quick, get them out of there, take them on a long ride, and not have to go through that whole bottleneck experience. Avoid concert locations. When you drive up and there's 300 people on the street, yeah, good luck with that. So again, you might want to accept the ride, or find a spot a block and a half, 2 blocks away, park, get a good spot so that it's easily walkable for the people coming out of the concert. Call them, say, hey, I'm just a block and a half down, or, if you have a really convenient pickup location, just get away from the crowd, right? because it's really difficult. One time I had somebody go, "Well, I'm wearing a blue shirt." Okay, thanks, ma'am, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna look for one blue shirt among 200 people. So, all right, places to go. You can't go wrong by getting to San Francisco before 6 a.m. And once you're there, hopefully you can stay there, through 9 o'clock, and you'll get lots and lots of rides. Walnut Creek, Thursday through Sunday evenings. They have just a really terrific bar scene there. Very busy social life. Really nice people. You have some nice riders. I haven't had anybody who's a jerk in Walnut Creek. Thursday through Sunday in the evening, 7 to 11 to even midnight, 1 a.m. No one's ever vomited in my car. All right. That was number 5. This is number 6. Number 6, UberX and Lyft versus Pool and Line. All right, so it all depends. I'm currently experimenting with only doing UberX and Lyft, because this is some drivers around the country are now only doing that, and that's great. But I just got done kind of committing to one over the other. I'm not going to say which, but one of the services really made it look attractive to do most all my rides with them. So I did everything offered to get to a certain number of rides so I could make that lump sum. At the end of the week, it might not have really turned out to be that great. So since Uber and Lyft are changed their bonus structures week to week, then that's part of the decision that needs to be made. Look up on YouTube. There are other videos on Pool and Line versus UberX and Lyft. I'm not going to try to repeat that, but there are a lot of good reasons why Pool and Line make things a lot more difficult for you and actually for people. And the better clientele, the smarter clientele, are taking the UberX and the Lyfts instead of Pool and Line. Okay. Number 7, find a trio of BART stations near you where you can kind of circulate around. And if you're not getting any rides at one, then you can go to another one. BART stations are great because the trains are always running, and what I do is I will go and if there's an open spot in the passenger loading zone, I'll set my timer for 4 minutes. I'll park there for 4 minutes. If I don't get something, then I'll start driving off and start going to someplace else. So that's number 7. BART stations. Great way. And then, I guess the number one place that people get picked up and dropped off in San Francisco is the Caltrain station. So Caltrain, same thing. You want to go to these train stations where people get picked up on a regular basis. All right. Number 8, teach uninformed passengers that the name of the place that they want to be picked up or dropped off. That's the most effective way. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's about 98% accurate. It's not perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. But name of the place, most accurate. Second best is the address, but sometimes the address puts the pin in a funny place because I don't know, maybe it has to do with zoning, or I don't know who does these things, but between Google and city planning offices and whatever, the pins end up in funny spots. Anyway, so, and just about the worst thing you can do is use my location. I would say less than 50% of the time does it work out great. All right, so realize that you're being profiled. So number 9, you're being profiled. You drive a certain way. They're collecting data on you. They're determining what your behavior is, and they're incentivizing you on that. Number 10, snacks are overrated. I had snacks in my car. It starts making a mess. People don't like the snacks. I have mints. That's all I have. And I used to have bottled waters. I don't have bottled waters anymore. Bottled waters were fine. People were very appreciative, but then after a little while, I began to find crumpled up water bottles in my car that I didn't know about because I was driving consecutively, and here they are rolling around on the ground. People throw them in the back. I'm like, yeah, thanks for littering in my car. I give you something for free. Thanks for littering. Appreciate it. Makes you look bad for the other people coming. I haven't had them. No one has begged me for water. I'm thinking about maybe keeping a few in the front seat just for an emergency. Anyway, number 11, conversation is overrated. If you have if there is a conversation, that's nice. Don't force it. I'm more likely to try to read the person to see if they don't want to talk, because forcing that conversation is pretty rude. But most of the time, I say 90% of the time, there will be some nice little conversation that happens. 70% of the time, it'll be something really interesting and informative. 10% of the time, people are just busy. They're on their way to a meeting. They're busy. They have to make their business call. Yeah, don't get in the way of that. Be the driver. All right. Safe driving is crucial, and it's harder to do than you might imagine. I mean, when you're being pulled in different directions, especially with line and pool, because you could be on a 3-lane road and you're just about to turn right and you get a notification that now you have to turn left. It's very bothersome. All right. So, but that's one of the strong reasons not to do pool and line. And so then you have this, this moment of kind of high stress where you have to see if you can get over. I don't know. It's difficult, but you could end up having to go all the way around. But be safe. Whatever you do, if somebody gives you a rapid suggestion of stop here, then don't listen to that. I mean, you really have to be safe and use your best judgment. When you're driving your car, normally you wouldn't take suggestions from backseat drivers, but in the service industry, it's tempting to do that. I tell people, hey, I will listen to you, but within a certain limit. You have to give me a little more notice than that. All right. Be yourself, but be careful that you don't want to really get into a big disagreement with your passenger. If you can sense that any kind of argument is going to ensue, then just stop, cool out, and just have fun with it, and be as kind to them as you can. I mean, what's the point of having any kind of disagreement? Just basically what you're trying to do is both get that person to the place at the best possible time. So work together. All right. But yeah, express yourself, be who you are. I mean, that's part of the charm, and not everybody's going to like you. I mean, I have a 4.91, and some of the criticisms that I've received, I think are a little unfounded. Some of them probably right on, but 4.91 is not too bad. Use the 2-device trick. There's another guy, the Rideshare professor. I have to give a shout out to that guy because he inspired me to do this. So go on the other videos. I'm probably only going to do 1 or maybe 2 videos. I don't know. I don't know how many I'm going to do, but go check out the Rideshare professor. I'm going to tag him somewhere in here. And look at all the other ones. There are a lot of great videos out there. He's top notch. He's a little more ambitious than me, but I learned this from him. He says use 2 phones, but I use my iPod, and so I have on my iPod, I have Uber right there, and I have Lyft right there. Now, what you can see, where'd it go? What you can see is there's another, where'd it go? Come on now. All right. So you can see there are some other cars right there. So basically what you can do is you can see who's around you, how many cars are around you, and you can get away from them. And I would say at least 70% of the time, once I realize I'm in a cluster of cars and I start moving away from it, by the time I get outside of that little cluster, within a minute I get another ride. About 70% of the time. So that's been really great. So that but Rideshare Professor says get 2 phones. I say use another device. I have my my iPhone that does hotspot, so I have personal hotspot. You know, you turn on the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, personal hotspot, and so this is running off the internet off of the phone that I'm recording this video on right now. So that's major. I just bought some tires, and when you get tires, I strongly recommend that you get the best blend of good traction, long lasting, and good gas mileage tires. So the tricky thing is if you get tires that are strictly for high mileage, long or good gas mileage, they're gonna be rough. You're gonna feel it, and they're gonna be noisy, and that will be annoying. If you get the best possible traction tires, then they're not going to last very long, and your gas mileage might not be that great. So you know, then you know, you might want to, if you get the longest lasting tire, then you might give up a little bit of traction. So you know, you want to combine those categories. So I think that's number 13, right? Use the 2 device trick is 12. Invest in the best blend of tires that of traction, long life, and good gas mileage. I get a lot of positive comments on my very spacious Ford Escape. I have a 2013 Ford Escape here. A spacious car is really underestimated because sometimes you get really tall people in your car, right? So when I have a guy who's 6'4" or bigger in my car, and they get in, they're like, oh, wow, thank you. So that's a great way to get tips, because sometimes those, you know, the big people don't like to get themselves cramped down into a little economy car. This does have the EcoBoost, so it does get 33 miles a gallon on the freeway, so that's an important thing. All right. So, you know, having a more spacious car is helpful. It will also make you feel better than being cooped up into some little thing. All right. Number 14, drive during prime times. All right. I like to go from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. or a little bit longer if I'm in the middle of a consecutive ride boost. And then again, 3 to 7, and I might go later again if I'm a consecutive ride boost. Sometimes I go and do the bar scene, especially on big holiday nights, you know, like I drove from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. on New Year's, and that was pretty awesome. Where you go to do that is really important. So you're going in the better neighborhoods, then you're more likely to get the more polite people who are thinking a little bit ahead. Uber drivers and Lyft drivers can complain about drunk people, but in my area it seems to be the best and the brightest people are taking Uber and Lyft, and they're being responsible. So I haven't had anybody barf yet. You know, keep those fingers crossed. All right. Number 15. I hope I'm on the right number. I should have numbered these again. Okay. After most rides, pull over to think for a moment. All right. Unless you're like right in the middle of like this one to that one, right? I mean, even so, you conclude a ride and you have another one coming up. Stop and really, or slow down and really survey the scene in front of you, because I don't know how many times, I just finish a ride and I need to turn left or right now at this intersection that I'm at. And if I drive through it, then I just added a couple of minutes. So, be patient, and people will be patient with you, right? And then if you are patient so just stop and collect yourself, look around you, see what's going on. Take a deep breath now and then. And then 16, don't underestimate what driving in a crazy town like San Francisco can do to you. All right. So I play this little game called Escape from San Francisco. I'll drive there for a couple of hours, and then I notice that I'm starting to become maybe a little overly aggressive. So I start to make my escape. I might get a little tired. I might get a little edgy. So, so then what I do is I'll finish a ride and I'll start heading towards a freeway to get on the Bay Bridge. And then if I get another ride, I'll do that one, but then I'll continue trying to get to the freeway. And then if I successfully make it onto the freeway, then I turn my thing off until I cross the bridge and I'm out of there. I find that driving in the East Bay is a lot more mellow, easygoing, and so a lot more is a lot less stressful than driving in San Francisco, particularly. So now some people try to avoid the long trips, as so this is number 16, 17, something. Anyway, but this is, to me, is like a badge of courage, because you signed up to do a service, so people come to the service and they're expecting good things to happen, and when they get rejected because they're a long ride consistently, then they get really disappointed. I had an interesting one where 3 different people canceled on these people who were trying to get to the airport for their trip to South Africa. And so I think I got them to the airport like an hour and a half before their flight because these other people had canceled on them. So it was a really stressful time for them. I got them there. And, this is one of those things where those people who cancel on them really hurt all of us. So, do a little bit of the stuff that's outside of your comfort zone. Long rides actually do make the best money if you're going a longer distance. So, make sure you do those too. So anyway, thanks for watching, and you're going to see my code come up. So if you're thinking about driving, you can take these ideas and they'll help you get a better start like right away. And so in the notes and on the screen here, you're going to see my invite codes for Uber and for Lyft. I would recommend starting with one company and get going a little bit before you start doing the other one, and then you start to learn how to which one's better. Anyway, well, good luck to you, and whatever you do, stay as safe as you possibly can. One thing you should know is that with Uber anyway, the deductible for an accident, if your car needs repair, is $1,000. So, I was rear-ended by somebody, and it cost me $1,000 to get that fixed. Uber's insurance paid the rest. I didn't want to claim it on my insurance because you can get blackballed by your insurance company. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I would say send an email to me, on this email, rather than putting something in the comments, because I don't think I'm likely to look at the comments much. I know it's a little bit of a long video, but I hope it was worth it, and thanks for watching.